The Turkish foreign minister confirmed Israel and Turkey were discussing deconfliction in Syria. The deconfliction line will reduce the risks of Israel and Turkey conducting inadvertent strikes on one another as Israel continues to bomb across Syria. Turkey became the most powerful actor in Syria when it backed groups that overthrew the long-term regime of Bashar al-Assad back in December 2024. Israel has also expanded into Syria, but has looked on with concern as the new regime in Damascus is aligned with Turkey, and after Turkey announced it was looking to establish military bases throughout Syria. The deconfliction process may lead to a new informal carve-up of Syria, with Israel influencing the south and Turkey the rest of the country. Syria and Turkey are moving toward a defense pact that would see Turkish forces deployed much deeper into Syria. However, Israel has reacted with alarm to such a prospect and attacked several air bases in Syria that were reportedly being prepared for Turkish deployment. Despite deep relations that go back decades between Israel and Turkey, Israel is concerned about Turkish expansion in the region and does not want to see Iran replaced by a resurgent Turkey. A U.S. judge has ruled the Trump administration can deport Mahmoud Khalil, a Columbia University graduate detained last month over his role in pro-Palestinian protests. Mohammed Khalil has now become the first person to have disappeared and will now be deported for his views over Palestine. Since his arrest in March, many others who also hold pro-Palestine views are having their U.S. status revoked. Students, academics, professionals, immigrants, and permanent residents could all potentially be in the firing line. Mr. Khalil, a permanent legal U.S. resident, has not been charged with a crime, making this case even more bizarre. Since the divestment campaigns and sit-ins across U.S. universities over U.S. support for Israel's genocidal campaign, the U.S. government has turned against such opinions, accusing them of anti-Semitism and a threat to U.S. foreign policy. It would seem the U.S. has run out of arguments to defend Israel and is now resorting to disappearing people and expelling them out of the country. The U.S. is now looking more and more like the USSR. The Trump administration is even using a Cold War-era law, the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952, which provides that migrants in the U.S. may be removed if the Secretary of State believes their presence will have serious negative consequences for U.S. foreign policy. Donald Trump's close friend and special envoy, Steve Witkoff, had a busy weekend as he attempted to come to deals with both Russia and Iran. Since Trump took office, he did a U-turn on Ukraine and reduced support for the country and started a bromance with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Trump has been looking to make a number of deals, including a ceasefire over Ukraine, but Russia has not rolled over and keeps introducing new conditions for any deal. This has delayed a final agreement. Trump has expressed frustration with Putin over the state of talks. He wrote on social media, "Russia has to get moving. Too many people are dying, thousands a week, in a terrible and senseless war." With Russia in the stronger position in Ukraine, it doesn't need to compromise or agree to any concessions. In the second leg of his trip, Witkoff met Iranian officials in Oman to try and agree a new nuclear deal after Trump ripped up the last one in 2018. The U.S. has moved its aircraft carriers and B-2 bombers closer to Iran's borders. But despite Iran's tough words, it's proposed a preliminary deal where Iran halts enrichment in return for sanctions relief as a short-term gesture, which will permit a deal later down the line. Iran, in the last nuclear agreement, eventually gave numerous concessions for sanctions relief, only for the U.S. to leave the agreement. On this occasion, once again, Iran is the one being told to surrender, with the U.S. on this occasion fully supporting Israel's position.